Welcome to Festpod, the unofficial Download Festival guide. I'm Neil Wilkinson. This is the place for news and rumours about the festival, advice for going, and where you can have your say too. And for the first time, we are visible on screen as we record this. It's the future, everybody. So now let's welcome my fellow host, Lee Ellingham is unfortunately not well this time around, so best wishes to Lee. So stepping in kindly and stepping in on a more permanent basis as well is Rich Holmes. Hello, Rich.
Hey, Neil. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Welcome to Festpod. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself so we can get to know each other?
Oh, absolutely. I believe I'm the man known as Sambuca Man that you mentioned on the last pod. I like pouring Sambuca down people's necks in a field at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, and it was much appreciated, I have to say. Thank you very much for that. I really did appreciate that on that sunny day at Download Festival. Do you know what? We have had a belting summer so far. We had great weather at Download 22, but can you imagine it being like it was a few weeks ago? 40-degree heat?
I wake up about 4 in the morning anyway in my tent because it's too hot. So if there was any more kind of ambient temperature around, then I just wouldn't sleep. I don't think I'd be able to cope without any shade.
No, I agree with you. It would be very difficult indeed. Get in touch with us on the socials or on YouTube by searching for Festpod. Say hi, ask our advice about Download, or just chime in with whatever you want. We are going to kick off now with the festival news. And now, because we've just had Download, there isn't actually any Download festival news. We've got other festivals going on, though. It is festival season, so we are blessed with news from above. We have Bloodstock just days away. So Rich is actually going, aren't you, Rich, to Bloodstock this year? So what can we expect?
I am indeed, Neil. I can't wait. I do like Bloodstock very much, but I just Bloodstock's just, it's so different to Download in every way in terms of just the size. 20,000 people. It just feels different. Everything's very much on top of each other. It's a 5 minute walk from your car to standard camping.
Really?
Yeah, and about a 2 minute walk from standard camping to the arena, and it's just it's always a great feeling, great atmosphere there, and some great bands on as well. We've got Lamb of God and Merciful Fate and Behemoth, Testament. It's a great lineup this year, as well as Sleep Token on the Sophie Lancaster stage.
Oh, and, yes.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Sleep Token again. But yeah, there's also this, they got the New Blood stage where they run the competitions throughout the country and get a load of unsigned bands into their own stage, and they play all weekend.
Wow.
And it's just great. You see some real up and coming bands there that appear on the main bill a couple of years later usually.
Did you go to the Download pilot a couple of years ago?
I didn't, sadly. I couldn't get there. Couldn't get the time off.
Okay, yeah. Well, it was very last minute, wasn't it? The only reason I ask is because of the numbers. I think it was 10,000 went to the Download pilot, and you've got 20,000 at Bloodstock. I did go to the pilot, and it was nice because you'd got room to move. Whereas in a normal Download, you haven't always got a lot of room to move. What's it like at Bloodstock? Because you say 20,000, but is it in quite a small space?
So it's a relatively small kind of main arena, but you've got the main stage with a second stage and a tent kind of at the back of that. So at the back of the crowd area for main stage, and then you've got the New Blood stage kind of stage right side.
How many stages have we got at Bloodstock?
So there's the two main ones, the New Blood stage, and they have the Jägermeister stage as well.
Okay.
Well, I can quite often be found drinking copious amounts of Jägermeister.
Really?
Well, they have a couple of kind of smaller bands on in there. That's great. It's great. It's great.
How many have you been to?
Ooh, it's a few now. It's good. We go a few years now. If downloads always felt like home.
Yeah.
Bloodstock's hard to describe, but it's beautiful, and
I hear it's got a different atmosphere to download.
It's incredibly chilled. That's not saying that download isn't, but I think the whole walking around the big distances thing at download, the kind of 4 decent sized stages, everything seems to rush. There's so many clashes going on all the time, and I think although you do get a couple of clashes at Bloodstock, it's not quite as bad. You do tend to get to see whoever you want to see, and then also like the fact that the second stage headliner plays after the main stage headliner.
Yes,
so
that's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, so you've still got something going on till midnight or later, live music wise.
Wow. And what's the camping like? What are the campsites like?
Flat, grassy. Everything you want from a campsite.
Wow. Because download campsites are always nice, are they?
No, I mean I've stayed in Gold at Download before, on the hill looking over the racetrack.
I bet that's nice.
Yeah, it was a beautiful view in the morning. When you got up and you looked over the racetrack and the sun was shining, but then you realised the 50-mile-an-hour winds has put your tent at a 45-degree angle. It's not so fun. But no, it's if it rains and it rains and it rains, then it's going to be bad anywhere you go, isn't it?
This is very true.
Let's not kind of beating on the bush on that. It will do, but no, Bloodstock's quite flat. It has got kind of a river running behind the site, so there's obviously moisture from that anyway. But I've never had a problem with Bloodstock. It's pleasant.
Is it a bit more family friendly, maybe?
So I take my stepdaughter with my partner, who's kind of like 7-8 years old.
Oh.
I wouldn't take her or my 2 daughters to Download.
No.
My eldest is 9 today, actually. Happy birthday!
Oh, bless her.
I wouldn't take the Download. I think it's too big. There's too much risk there. But at Bloodstock, I'd be quite happy for any of the 3 of them to just go and do what they want to do, because it just feels safe, and there's a lot more. You notice a lot more young kids there.
Right, that's interesting. I hadn't ever really thought about the fact that Download is so big a place, and for kids, it's going to be difficult. I think you've got a good point there, actually. With little legs, because I don't know about you, I find it a struggle to get around Donington. It is,
yeah.
It's going to be really tough, isn't it, for little legs? I think.
I mean, if it's tough for us, it's tough for them, and if the little legs are struggling, then Daddy's back going to be struggling just to carry him around everywhere.
Yes, yeah.
But there's less place for them to wander off and stuff. So I think it's overwhelming, the size of it. It's overwhelming to me sometimes still. Been going for a good few years.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The flat campsites, like you were saying, compared to Download, where you're sleeping at a 45-degree angle on some of those campsites, it does sound nice that. Because I was in, I think it was Pink Camp back in 2016, and you are sliding down the hill in your tent as you try and sleep, and it's not comfortable, no matter which position you get yourself in.
No, 2016, that was a weird year, wasn't it?
Yes.
Sunburnt on the Wednesday, flooded by the Friday.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we laugh about it now, but it
Oh, yeah,
was horrendous.
I wouldn't want to do that again.
Oh, my God. But the thing is, it's potluck. You never know what it's going to be like. I think after 3 years off or whatever it's been, this year we've just got really lucky with the weather.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been shite, couldn't it? It could have been anything. It could have been another 2016.
Yeah, and I think, you know, with us both staying in R.I.P. this year, I think we would have had a slightly better experience anyway. But yeah, the thought of 5 days of getting absolutely shit on from above it just fills me full of dread now, and I just feel like I'm getting too old, you know, getting too old for it, and it's like I want to take my big raised airbed, and I want to I want to take my big comfy chair, a big table, and I want to be able to, you know, stretch out and relax and actually enjoy it. I'm not out partying until 3-4 in the morning anymore. I'm quite happy being in bed by midnight, half midnight. I'll be honest with you.
You know what? We're on the same page. Yeah, absolutely. I've done all that, and you know, you reach a point where you just think, you know what? I want the finer things in life. I want some comfort, and that's. I think that's. If you're watching this, I think you're of the same opinion. We've got most of our listeners are of a similar age to us, so I'm sure you've got by now a similar opinion. Maybe not. Everyone's different, and I know that some people love roughing it, but we're not we're not of the same opinion. So
no, sir.
No, absolutely not. So Bloodstock, the prices actually are increasing for the first time in 5 years. The standard weekend early bird is going up to £150 plus a booking fee if you buy it online. The early bird tickets for 2023 can be bought at the festival. So if you're going this year, you can get your tickets for next year, where there will be no booking fee, which is nice. So once early bird is sold out, your standard weekend price increases to £165 plus booking fee. Is this a big deal, Rich, about the price increases? I know it's the first time in 5 years.
I mean, for me personally, I think it's more than justified. You know, at the end of the day, Bloodstock are a business, same as any promoter is, and they've done so much to keep the prices fixed. They've done so much to keep the concessions prices down, the beer prices. £5 a pint. You know, it's
makes a difference, doesn't it?
So it does make a big difference, and do you know what? I got the problem with it. I think it's absolutely justified. You can't be running things at a loss. At the end of the day, you're in the game to make money, and I think anybody who begrudges people actually making a couple of quid on their business, on their livelihood, doesn't quite understand business. I don't think, but.
Yeah, because they're going to the
controversial
effort.
Maybe, but
well, they're going to they don't have to do this. They're going to the effort to put on an amazing festival and make the experience as good as possible for everybody. They're booking bands, they're putting areas in place so that we can all have a great time. And I mean, and
it does feel like it's still for the fans. Like it's you feel that connection that Vicky and Adam are on the socials all the time. They're doing the live events. They do the updates from the site. They've organised some kind of band Q&A over the last couple of weeks. And it's like there's that constant connection and there's that constant face of the festival. And that's what feels. It's part of the atmosphere. It's what feels like. You know, you feel like you're part of that experience, part of that family.
Yeah, I think you can tell when people go to the extra effort to do things like that it's a passion for them, because it could be really corporate and they could be really hands off and just employ people to do that. But I think it makes a real difference, because if it's your baby then you want to, you want to put your own personal touch to it and make sure everybody's happy and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, you want to nurture. You want to watch it grow and succeed. And I'd have been happy if they put the prices up for this year. At the end of the day, it's 15 quid or whatever. It's not 15, 20 quid, whatever it is. It's not gonna break the bank, is it?
In the grand scheme of things, it's, when you compare it to download, we're paying something like £275 for a standard ticket for 5 days camping. So I think Bloodstock's still on the right. It's a much smaller festival, but a festival's a festival, and I don't think the size of it decides how good a time you have.
No, and do you know what? On a slightly different kind of plane of thought on this is, I'd be looking to take the kids camping this summer.
Oh yeah,
just for a few days. I think it was 4 nights in Scotland I was looking at around the Loch Lomond area.
Nice.
4 nights camping, right? Just on a field. There's nothing special about it. It's just a field. It's got a toilet block, I'll give it that, but that's it. You look, it was £144.
Oh my God.
When you look at it that way,
yeah.
Well, I'd be paying 150 quid to go and camp next to a bit of water, or I could pay 150, 160 quid to go and watch some damn good bands and have a good time with my mates.
Yeah, I see your point there, actually. I think you're doing the right thing. The thing is, we've all, with everything's going up now, we've got to think a bit more about what we spend, and obviously Bloodstock is doing the same thing. But it just seems like such good value. £5 a pint.
Yeah. And as long as the Jaeger and Ginger's £5 as well, I go this year, you'll never hear a complaint from me.
So, moving on to 2000 Trees. The tickets for 2023 are now on sale after they sold out in 2022. So that's... I don't think you've not been to 2000 Trees, have you?
I've not been to Trees. No, I know a few people who have, always sung its praises. It's definitely on my list of places I need to get to soon, I think. Before I get too old.
Well, the thing is, I say I'd like to go to Trees. I would have liked to have gone this year if I wasn't so skint from download. But still smarting from that. But you've got to prioritise it, I think, because if it's just one of those things that's always, I would like to do that one day, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think that if you're going to do it, you've got to actually make plans. I'm more talking about myself here, because it's never going to happen, realistically, because I've put so much into download. Download is where I focus, because it's the big main one, isn't it? And Trees, although it looks great, and from what I've seen, it looks like I would have a great time. My energy goes into download. Yeah,
you're right. Talking about it's one thing, but doing it's another, isn't it? And I suppose especially now that I've got the R.I.P bug at download, I'll never be able to afford anything again. So
it's true, isn't it? This is it. Once you go R.I.P, you can't go back to normal camping. I don't know how you've managed all this time. But it's like we were saying before about 2016, that rain. That's what made me go to R.I.P in the first place. I was just trying to escape the rain because I'd got myself a lovely camper van, a little rental from Bumble Campers with a solid roof, lockable doors. Oh, it's another world.
Yeah, I was quite jealous of your little camper. That was great. I was quite interested in it, to be fair. I've been looking myself to get on that train. But do you know what? After 16, I stayed in standard for another year, and then I went to quiet in 18, just because. Just thought it's a bit less rowdy, maybe less trampling around, maybe the grind would be a bit better. And to be fair, it was okay. But yeah, I couldn't do it now. I've taken the piss out of so many of my mates who have gone to R.I.P. Because, into your ivory tower looking down on those minions. And it's just because I was jealous. I was just jealous I couldn't afford it at the time. And yeah, they were so right.
Is quiet camp that much different to regular camping? Is it really?
Quiet camp was good, to be fair. There were some times when it wasn't policed very well, and people would come into that area during the night and start dicking round. But that happened anywhere at any festival, when your security you get a bit lapse for a period of time. But no, it was quiet camping was fine. It got bigger and bigger and bigger, but when you get bigger and bigger and bigger, it becomes less quiet, and those kind of little nice perks that you think you've been clever by going in quiet camping kind of start to slip away.
Well, it's like, you think, oh, well, no one's going to go in quiet camping, so I'll be all right in there. But like you say, a lot of people have that same thought. So the benefits disappear, don't they? So what do you do? So we've got Reading and Leeds coming up at the end of August. Not festivals that I would buy tickets for, particularly. Although there are some acts on their lineup that I would actually like to see.
Who would you like to see that, Neil?
Well, let's click on the link and have a look at the lineup poster. If it loads up. So, the headliners at Reading, we've got Dave, who I'm not really sure who that is. We've got Arctic Monkeys, who I know. I'd probably watch them.
Saw them a long time ago. Long time ago.
I guess they were all right, were they?
They were pretty good, to be fair. But we are going back a long time ago.
Okay.
It's a very small venue, very small venue.
Oh.
It's not going to be one of those. I saw them before they were massive.
Oh, I was half expecting that.
Nah, it's. I mean, it kind of half is and half isn't.
Yeah.
But no, they were good. I did enjoy them live. I'm not a massive fan of listening to them on record, but live they were good, to be fair.
Yeah, I bet they put on a good show, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And the other one is Rage Against the Machine, who I would like to see, actually. I've never seen them, so I would like to see them.
Yeah, good show. Rage Against the Machine, definitely worth a watch. Another couple on there, I'd probably give time. Well, I'd definitely give time to Frank Carter. I'm a massive Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes fan.
Did you see them this year?
I did, yes.
Do you know what? I couldn't be bothered to cross the crowd to get a good view, and my feet were hurting. I would have liked to see more of them than I actually did see.
They're well worth a watch, and I'd always recommend, if you get a chance to see Frank and the boys, it's always guaranteed to be a good night.
I've got one thing to say, is that he doesn't sing his biggest hit. I mean, they play it, but he doesn't sing it. And that just niggles me. I want to hear him singing it. It's fair enough the crowd's singing it, but I want to hear him sing it. That becomes more and more common at the moment, isn't it? It's that crowd interaction thing. But yeah, there's you also like. I've got no problem with artists doing that, but give the crowd the first verse on the first chorus or something, and then get into it and do it properly. But yeah, hey, what do I know? I'm not a famous recording artist, so no, exactly. We know nothing. Also, Maneskin, is that how you'd say it? I think that maybe the Swedish or something. Maneskin, who were in the Eurovision Song Contest. Lee knows more about this than I do because he's a fan. But remember watching them and liking them, and so I would watch them at Reading. You've also got Bring Me the Horizon, who are playing. There's quite a lot of bands or acts that are not rock or indie that I would watch, like Gorgon City. I've seen them in person before. Wilkinson, obviously, got to see them. I'd see Bastille as well. The rest of them, Cassiette's on.
Cassiette, yeah.
And Kid Brunswick, who played Download this year as well.
Yep.
So there's a few Download acts there.
Yeah, there is.
I don't know. I still don't think that I would. Black Honey's on as well, who supported Royal Blood a few years ago. I don't think I would pay the money to get a ticket for Reading, despite the number of acts that I see that I know or would watch.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Half of me's always wanted to go to Reading, and half of me hasn't wanted to go, and I've never kind of taken that jump and gone, right, I'm going to go, because I don't know what it is. There are some decent bands that they have that they book there, but I don't know whether it's location for me or whether it's the actual festival layout from the pictures I've seen. I don't know. I just think that it's too wide in its genres.
Yeah.
That I probably feel it's probably more an anxiety thing about being around people who have different tastes, and I've got a very eclectic taste. There's artists on there, genres on there that I would listen to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I like to stay more kind of centric or central, should I say, to a genre at a festival.
Yeah. The other thing you've got to remember is that at a place like Reading, it is a different audience to what you'd get at Download. They're not our people, sort of thing, if you know what I mean. They are.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but that's exactly what I was getting at. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because to a certain extent at Download, you feel safe because you're with people who. I mean, as I'm about to say this, as I hear it coming out of my mouth, it sounds stupid. But it's true. We like the same kind of music. We've got the same kind of attitude. Not just about music, but about life to a greater or lesser extent. We're not all exactly the same. There is actually a great breadth of people who like metal and rock. But I think in the main, we're all of a certain type of person, maybe. That's a huge generalisation, but you know what I'm trying to say. Whereas when you go, because I used to be a steward at festivals and arenas and outdoor gigs and all sorts, so there's genres that I would jump at working a gig for, and genres that I absolutely would not want to work at. Without laying it all out for you, that's where I am on it, really. So I don't think it's. I think it's natural that you don't necessarily want to walk amongst people who are not. I know where you're coming from. It's not.
Yeah. That's all right then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm with you. The Arctangent Clash Finder has been released. Have you been to Arctangent? You've not, have you?
I've not, sadly.
Is it one that you would go to?
Yeah, it is one that I would go to. I'm just doing a bit of research, and I have done research for this recording.
Oh, good.
I was quite impressed with some of the bands on there and the whole kind of feel of the festival. So yeah, it's definitely something I would really, really, really like to go to.
Yeah, they are quite similar to 2000 Trees, aren't they? In some respects, I don't know if they're affiliated, to be honest, but they're a smallish, good value festival. they're also doing podcasts, I notice, as well. Not loads. There's one there, the Riot Act podcast, that's going to be on a stage somewhere, I should imagine. Tesseract are playing.
Yeah.
There's some bands who I recognise from Download, and I would be very happy to. Art Scare podcast. That's the other one I was looking for. I mean, I can't admit to playing any of these, but the Long Drive Home podcast. That's becoming a thing, isn't it now? Doing podcasts on stages.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. Did you see any of the ones that were on Download?
I'll be honest with you. No.
No.
I had that little kind of desire to do that. It's not what I go to a festival for.
No, exactly. And as much as I love podcasts, I'm not going to a festival to watch one.
They've taken the place of a band.
Exactly. Spot on.
Essentially.
Yeah. And yeah, if you're going to have podcasts, if you really want to have podcasts at a festival, have them on a separate stage, have them in their own little area, perhaps a bit more intimate, because let's be honest, there's not big numbers wanting to go and watch a podcast at a festival. They're not selling tickets. No. What's it? Podcast is on. Let's go and buy tickets for Download. No one's thinking that. They're buying it's the bands that sell the tickets. So it's just a distraction, isn't it? A podcast, really. So if you have them off on the side, like as an extra thing, where you can go and watch them if you want, then great. But I think to monopolise a whole stage when you could be having bands on, I think it's odd.
It just felt like filler. Not for me, I'm afraid.
No. Now, Metal Hammer has released 10 best new metal songs this week. There's been a few of these lists, actually. There's a few lists that have come out from the websites with 10 best new metal songs. You've had a good look through the list, haven't you?
Oh, I have, yeah. I've used this as a bit of a playlist for work today, and there's some belting tunes on there, to be fair.
What stood out for you?
Well, obviously the new one from Lamb of God, Omens. A massive Lamb of God fan. So that was up there. If you like Ghost, their new track Spillways was good. I'm not a massive Ghost fan, I'll be honest with you, but it was perfectly acceptable listening.
Yeah, perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, it was fine for background whilst I was working, so it worked. Pick another couple out of the list. Cursed to Die by Lorna Shore. Quite excited to see Lorna Shore at Bloodstock this year.
Were they Download this year, or did I make that up?
You see, I put me on the spot now.
I'm thinking about it. I don't think they were. But obviously, you're going to watch them at Bloodstock, aren't you?
Yes. That's. I'm not sure. You're making me doubt myself.
No, I don't know.
No, but no.
Well, there's that many bands to keep track of. So Lorna Shore, you like? What's the Rob Zombie track like? That new one.
You see, again, I'm going to lose some friends here, but I'm not a massive Rob Zombie fan. Again, it was okay. I'm not laying into any of these tracks. Actually, all 10 of them were perfectly acceptable. It's not, if I thought they were crap, I'd say I thought they were crap. But I didn't skip through any of them.
Well, that's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's Rob Zombie, isn't it? The other one that I'd pull out of there was No More Tears to Cry by Bullet. And I think Bullet from a Valentine, great band, and this is a great track.
Cool, nice. Yeah,
there's
always new tracks, new music coming out, and it's hard to keep on top of it all. So It's I think to manage those few tracks that you've listened to there is quite impressive, because I haven't had time for any of it. Bloodstock again, a little bit of extra news there. We've got a secret set planned on the Friday afternoon by an internationally renowned band. But do you know who it is?
I mean, if you go, you do some festival maths.
Oh, I like this, festival maths with Rich Holmes.
Yes, that could be a
Holy Strand. Yeah, I know.
And you look at what's happened at Wacken, where a Amon Amarth tribute band were booked to play.
Oh.
And actually, it turned out to be Amon Amarth themselves.
Did it?
Yeah, playing a stage and time where you wouldn't usually expect them to be playing, and it's very similar for what's been announced for Bloodstock. Now, I have no information. I don't know, but I'm a massive Amon Amarth fan, and I'm hoping to be raising my horn in the Sophie Lancaster tent to Amon Amarth, because it's been a couple of years since I've seen him now, so it'd be good to see them again. But I'm probably getting myself all excited and worked up over nothing, and it'll be.
No, but it's good that though. I mean, you've got to look forward to something. That we've had a couple of years of crap, so let's fingers crossed. Let's hope it's Amon Amarth.
Okay, yeah, I'm hoping that in a couple of weeks' time I'll be sitting here in front of you going, it was great, it was Amon Amarth, yeah. I'm not, yeah, I screwed it up. I got no idea.
No, well, we'll find out. We've not long to wait, have we? Bloodstock. Again, we've unfortunately lost a couple of bands, Enforced and All Hail the Yeti, which I love that name, are unfortunately unable to make it this year. However, 3 more bands have been added to the lineup in their place. So we've got Heart of a Coward, Sister Shotgun, and Thum. Or Thumb. I'm never quite sure how to pronounce that.
I like the former. That was much. That was
fine.
That was
okay. Well, yeah. So you've got Heart of a Coward, Sister Shotgun, and Thum, all replacing some spots on the lineup. Now, Arctangent is going cashless. Instead of paying for drinks, food, merch with cash, you don't need to bring any cash with you. You just load your money onto your RFID wristband before you arrive, and you just zap your wristband to pay for stuff. That goes for the bar, food, and I think it's everything. If it's cashless, that's going to be everything, isn't it? So it's good because you're not going to lose your cash, which I know people who have done. What are your thoughts on it, Rich?
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of these cashless wristbands. At the end of the day, we all carry a phone around with us, which we can use to pay for things. We all have a debit card or a credit card in our pockets, which we can use to pay for things.
Yeah.
And although it's becoming less common, we all have these wonderful bits of polymer with a Majesty of the Queen's face on them, which we use to exchange for pints.
Yes.
Called cash. I get why festivals are doing it. Don't get me wrong. I understand why people want to go cashless and they want to remove that kind of everything from it. I've in a previous life, I've spent 12 years working in security and doing event management stuff. And
really?
Yeah, and dealing with the theft side of it as well from like concessions and from staff. And I know how easy it is. So I understand why people want to move away from cash. Yeah. Because obviously it's not just the consumer who loses out, it's also the business that loses out.
That's true.
So I understand that. But I don't understand why you'd want to move away from, your mobile payment device or your credit or debit card.
It is weird, yeah.
There were stories coming out of Download this year that people were getting fleeced by some of the traders, some of the food stalls.
Really?
Yeah, there was some people that were getting charged ridiculous amounts of money. I got done, but not to a massive amount. And it's
What
chances
kind
like
of
that.
thing?
So there was people who were getting charged a couple of £100 for like a burger or whatever, and it's not even like an extra zero on the end by mistake. It just didn't make any sense how they got there.
Wow.
I was overcharged by about £40 for a kebab. And
Oh my
I
God.
think it's preying on intoxicated people that you don't tend to notice at the time. Now, you can obviously raise that with your bank after, especially, but if you're on a RFID wristband, you haven't got a bloody clue what you're spending. You haven't got
Right
a
there.
clue what's getting taken off that money that you've loaded to it. I don't like them.
Yeah. You know what? Until you'd raised that point, I was not even aware of that, and I completely agree with you.
Thank you.
The thing is, because at least with your phone or with your watch, it comes up with what you've just spent if you've got any signal.
Yeah.
And it has occurred to me before when I've been up to pay for things, and they don't, they give you the thing to put your the reader to put your device onto, and I don't know about you, whether it says the amount or not. I don't always register that it does say an amount, and I don't always check.
Yeah.
And plus, like you say, at a festival, are you minded to check? You just want the burger, don't you?
Yeah. And you think that somebody who's dealt with this as part of a job for many years, that you're wise to it and you don't get stung by it. But when you've had a few cheeky sherbets and a bottle of Sambuca, then it's quite easy to.
A bottle. Yeah, well, it is. It is.
It's quite easy to. And then you get the, I'm not saying all traders are the same, because they're not. There's some very, very good, trustworthy traders who wouldn't ever do anything like that to anybody. But it kind of knocks your confidence in the system as well. And it kind of, you then start to notice that, why won't they show me the screen? Why won't they show me how much the amount is? At the end of the day, you wouldn't, you wouldn't go to your Tesco or Sainsbury's or Waitrose, if you like, and not look at what you were paying, would you? So
of course not. No.
Why are we doing it when we're at a festival?
Yeah, a festival, the one place where you know you're going to pay over the odds for absolutely everything. You really should be keeping an eye on what you're spending, and without being able to do that because you've no display on your wristband. I think that's an interesting point, and it doesn't look like you've got a choice either.
It's all or nothing, is it?
Yeah, by the look of it, it's cashless. So, but if you are going and and you don't mind it, if you register for your cashless account before August 10th, so you haven't got long, you've got a few days, you'll be in with a chance to win 2023 tickets. They're giving away 10 4-day passes, including Wednesday entries. So if you go to the Arctangent website and look at the cashless bits, all the details for that are there if you fancy a go at that.
Nice.
Radar Festival, which I haven't been to, but I would like to go to. Radar Festival has a new home at the BEC Arena in Manchester. Now, I don't think this arena is even built yet, so that's interesting. But it looks great.
It looks like a really, really well thought out festival. Not just the artists that are playing, but the whole kind of just like a sketch here of like layout and everything. It looks perfect. It's like it just big bar down the middle of the two stages and big bar at the back of one of them and separate music market and food area and it's just. Obviously that's a drawing. I know it is, but the idea's there, and it's the idea's there, and it looks right.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this is one of these festivals where you don't camp. There's no fields around it. There's no nothing to worry about with in terms of camping. It is just music and drinking and food, which is ideal for me. I mean, that sounds great, because camping is a whole thing in itself, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, I was terrified of camping to a few years ago. It really kind of took a lot to get me going to festivals, because I just hated camping so much.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say I've grown to love it, because that'd be an absolute lie. But I've grown to tolerate it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you've made the best of it because you've had no choice, basically. I mean, we'll come on to our experience in R.I.P. in a little bit. But yeah, I just think that I would, do you know what? Staying in a hotel nearby is, even at download, it just sounds ideal. It's just the cost that's putting me off.
See, I mean, like these city centre festivals where it's obviously no on-site accommodation. I could get on board with that, but I don't. Even with my hatred of camping, I don't think I could stay off-site at download. I don't think I could do it.
It would be weird, wouldn't it? I know what you mean.
It'd be a lot of faff as well. I mean, it's not, it's not the easiest place to get to. Whether if you're using a shuttle bus or whatever. I know it's there, but you've still got to wait for it and queue for it, and
that's a
sit
faff.
in the traffic with it. And
yeah.
And if you drive yourself each day, then it's queuing in and out of the car park each day, and it's just adding time on, and you wouldn't be able to drink a bottle of Sambuca if you were driving, obviously.
You're right there. You wouldn't be able to get as pissed, would you?
No.
Wow.
We wouldn't be able to get pissed at all, would you?
Oh, what's the point then? What's the point going? You wait all year and you can't get pissed at download. Well, that's not happening.
It never happened. It never happened.
But yeah, they were at the Guildford Corner House, and they're moving to the BEC Arena, which is a brand new arena, which I believe is being built in Sport City near to the Man City Stadium. Now, that's from memory. I haven't got that written down. That is just from what I understand. And it's going to rival the Manchester... Well, it's not called the Manchester Evening News Arena anymore, but the big arena in Manchester. What's it called now? Can't remember. Anyway.
Manchester Arena. I don't know.
Probably. But it's good news for Radar Festival, because after 4 years, 2 packed out events and 1 pandemic, Radar Festival is moving to a new venue, a substantial capacity increase, and the potential to create a truly amazing event. I've got no excuse. I should be buying a ticket for this because it's literally down the road. So limited early bird tickets are available if you're interested in that. And the price for a weekend ticket, the full price actually, is £133.75, and the early bird is £112.35, 112 quid.
Wow.
Yeah. So, if you're in the area...
You get it. You've got to get it on yourself? You going for it?
Do you know what? When is it? It's end of July. So if the end of next year is anything like if the end of July next year is anything like the end of July this year, I will be absolutely skint. So unless I come into some money, if I perhaps get some money over Christmas, if I work hard and be a good boy and don't spend any money, then maybe I will get a ticket for that, because that does look good. I've got no excuse, really, apart from the money. It does look good.
Yeah. It's worth it. It's definitely worth looking at more, isn't it?
Then, now our last bit of news today. If you're into mobile gaming and you like Iron Maiden, you may have come across their game Legacy of the Beast, which I've played a little bit of, and it's all right. It's a turn-based, I don't know what you call it, really. So you play a character and you have to twat the other one round the chops, and then they can twat you round the chops, and whoever dies first is the loser. So something like that. And you can play as Download Dog, which I think is quite nice. They've filmed a cute advert with Download Dog playing his own game as his own character, which is quite nice. Have you ever played this game?
No, not yet. I haven't. I'm definitely going to though.
Are you a fan of Iron Maiden?
Oh, for God's sake! Why can't you? Why don't you ask me that?
Oh, you can be honest.
I appreciate what Iron Maiden have done for metal.
Yeah.
Am I a fan? No. I just can't. It's also samey for me. I've got no problem at all. You know, I can stand and watch the show.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good time. But no, they're not. They're just not. They're not a rich band, I'm afraid.
Yeah. It's not something. I have tried to get into Iron Maiden, but it's just they just don't really do it for me. I mean, I like some of their songs, and I just can't get excited about them. That's all. You know.
Yeah. No, I don't feel so bad now.
Well, I know that they headline Download fairly often, and they've got a lot of support. And they're not one of the biggest. They are. What am I trying to say here? They're not one of the biggest metal bands in the world for no reason. I think I've said that the way I wanted to. So they have got a lot of support, but obviously they're not going to tick everybody's box, are they? So if it's either for you or it's not. But unlike Iron Maiden, you do like Rammstein, don't you?
Oh, I do indeed like Rammstein. Went to their Cardiff show at the end of. That was back in June now, June the 30th.
Yeah. How was it?
Down in the Principality Stadium. And, I've seen them a few times, and every time they just blow me away. They really do. And I actually stumped up a bit more cash, and I don't, as a rule, I don't like golden circles.
Uh-huh.
But for Rammstein, I paid for their Fire Zone, which was their golden circle.
The Fire Zone. I love it.
Yeah. It's pretty warm anywhere at a Rammstein concert, but bloody hell.
Toasty. Yeah. What did they do all of their hits, all the ones you know?
Yeah, so they played a good selection actually from multiple albums, including their new album as well, which I'm a massive fan of, by the way.
When did that come out? Is that quite recent?
Yeah, that was. It was this year, wasn't it? It was fairly recent. It wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
But I see my partner speaks German, so I don't feel like I can sing along to Rammstein songs because I get it wrong. So I can't. I don't even like pronouncing the names of the tracks because I just don't want to be judged. But no, it was a good mix from all. I mean, I'd seen them on the same tour actually back when they played in Milton Keynes a couple of years ago. It was the first leg of the European tour, so the same stage setup and everything.
Wow.
But it was nice to see a different set list on the same tour.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, they Mine Hurts Brent's my favourite Rammstein song. They played that and Puppet off their last album. Great theatrical performance of that, where Till brings a big metal pushchair pram onto stage and sets the baby on fire. It's wonderful. It really is.
Oh my God!
And then a bit of dance as Rich, the guitarist, has done a remix of Deutschland, and he gets up on the top of the staging basically, and they play his remix, and then he comes back down and they play the actual version of it, and then the usuals of like Du Hast and Sonne, and the overplayed Rammstein tracks. But and it's always great to get in pussy live in a stadium. But it's like I love Rammstein. I've realised that I'm wearing a Rammstein t-shirt talking about Rammstein, which makes me a proper fanboy. That was purely accidental, I must add.
I don't think there's any shame in that.
There's no shame. It's like, what am I talking about today? Oh, Rammstein. Oh, let's put a Rammstein t-shirt on. No, it wasn't the thought process this morning when I was getting dressed for work.
It was unintentional. It's just it's a coincidence that you're wearing.
But a lovely coincidence.
Yes. and the pyrotechnics, I'm imagining the place being on fire.
Indeed. There was actually some stuff on social media where there was pictures posted from outside the Principality Stadium of all the smoke and everything rising, and people were actually phoning the fire brigade thinking the stadium was on fire and sending thoughts and prayers to people trapped inside and hope they could all get out.
Oh my God.
Cardiff thought we were burning. They really did.
Wow. I mean, that's a good gig, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's exactly what you want. They've achieved what they set out to achieve, but they're brilliant. And I mean, you always think about how long can Rammstein go on with the energy they have, and the writing. Till's constantly writing, and I just. They're getting on as well. Let's not forget. They're getting on for the amount of energy they put into the shows and setting people on fire and stuff like that. It takes that out of you. I know it does.
Yeah. They're always full of. Whenever I've seen them, they're full of energy.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Till was in intensive care last year, wasn't he? As well, with some weird illness. So there was that worry as well of is he going to recover and all that? But no, they just seem to be going from strength to strength, and this last album they've put out is great. And if they continue with that, then happy days. I must also add just quickly that I thought the staff at the Principality Stadium were absolutely phenomenal. They really were.
Really, that's good to know.
Yeah, they were actually for. They're not used to dealing with kind of rock and metal fans. They don't get many rock and metal concerts in the Principality.
Right. No, I suppose not.
They were just great. The customer service, everything was spot on, 100%. Couldn't fault any of them.
Oh, isn't that good?
And I just think it's always worth raising that. I want to criticise quite quickly, but no, I thought the staff were brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. It's they if they're doing the job right, they're basically unseen, aren't they? Until you need them.
Yeah.
And if they go to those extra lengths to help you out, it's definitely worth mentioning. So yeah, well done to them.
I mean, my last point I'd make about the Rammstein concert was, and they continue to be one of the greatest live acts. I believe personally, is where's their ego getting to when their support band is a Rammstein covers band?
Wow. Well, who knows?
You've made it when the only band, well, not band, they're pianists. They're the only people who can go on ahead of you are a band who play your music.
That's got to be. I mean, enjoyable though, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's totally different. It's nice background. I think they're one of those bands anyway where you could go to and not have a support band, and you'd still enjoy it. You'd still get good value for money out of it. So yeah, no, absolutely, 100%.
And how long was the gig? About 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah, it was about 2 hours. It was.
And I'm always
maybe slightly longer.
Yeah, I'm always interested to know at gigs as well. How much for a pint?
£6.50.
Oh, not too bad actually.
Yeah, the bars were weird. They had different beers at different bars, and that wasn't very well advertised. Is the one thing I would say about the Principality. But no, £6.50 for a European export lager. I'm not a massive lager drinker at all, but it's all you can get really at gigs these days.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So £6.50 for that wasn't too bad, to be fair.
That's actually decent because I was at the O2 a few months ago and paid £7.50. I mean, we're talking festival prices, aren't we, really? Or even worse than festival prices.
Yeah, I was at the O2 for Queen in June as well, and I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I cried.
Yeah.
You pay 120 quid for the ticket to see Queen and Lambert, and then you're paying nearly bloody 10 quid for a pint.
It's like, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it's important, isn't it? Because it's part of your night, isn't it? You want to have a good time. You want to have a drink, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Did you get any merch, by the way?
Did I get any what? Sorry.
Merch.
No. I didn't get any merch at Ramstein because they'd literally sold out of everything before they even got to Cardiff. There was complaints about about them at Coventry that the merch had gone. One of my friends who I went with queued for about an hour and a half at the merch queue to get there to be told we're all sold out. Sorry, we haven't got anything left.
Oh no! Oh, that's.
I was just happy there. I was just standing eating a hot dog and drinking pints, so I was happy. But
and you've already got some merch anyway.
Exactly. I've got multiple Rammstein t-shirts in my wardrobe and hoodies and things like that. And I was fine. I didn't need to spend any more money.
Oh, I'm a bugger for merch. It was a new merch. Oh, I haven't got that t-shirt. Oh, I'll have to get that one. That's how they get you.
Yeah. I've tried to calm myself down a little bit. It doesn't always work though.
No. So next we are going to get some advice about going to download in the guide. In this section, we're going to try and answer your questions about what it's like to go to Download Festival, things that we recommend and things to avoid. This time, it's our new R.I.P. guide for 2022. R.I.P. is the Download VIP camp where you can rest in peace. But what exactly does that mean? How is your download experience made better? And what do you get for an extra £350? Let's find out. So, Rich, it was your first time in R.I.P. this year. So I'm uber keen to find out how you thought it went in R.I.P.
Honestly, I thought it was fucking fantastic. Real shitters. Big plus for me.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Showers, proper showers.
Yes.
I loved the Park Farm bar. I loved the courtyard stage.
Nice?
It was just a great atmosphere. I camped with some wonderful people.
Oh, yes.
And it was great. It was just like drive in, park my car, tent out, tent up.
Yeah, you can't really beat that,
Done.
can you?
Not having to lug your crap for a mile or so is the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Just literally opening the boot, cracking a beer open, and not worrying about it. And I could just take so much more crap as well. I took a table for the first time ever, and I just like extra clothes in case it absolutely pissed it down. And I just felt comfortable. I felt really happy.
Yeah. I think it enables you to have the festival the way you would have liked it, the first time you went. You would have liked to take all those extra clothes. You would have liked to take a table. You would have liked to take a bit more extra food, a few extra cans. But you couldn't because you were having to lug all your crap across Donington Park Circuit for 2 miles up and down mountains. It just makes your life so much easier. You're paying a lot of extra money. There's no two ways about it. It's a lot of extra money, but you do get a lot in terms of a better experience.
And the experience is what it's about. I mean, it is a lot of money. I can't lie about that. It's a massive amount of money difference, but it's worth every penny. It takes away the stress it takes, and that's not just the stress of getting there and getting set up. It takes away the stress of if it unleashes hell from above and we end up with, somebody having to build an ark or something to rescue us, then, you've got your car where you've got your dry clothes that you haven't got in your tent. It doesn't matter if your tent collapses because you're sensible enough to have put something in your car as well. And it's just little things like that. It's I've only got to walk 5 minutes to the arena this morning rather than going back on yourself on that track that you had to do 4 times to your car to set up.
So as you're talking, you're selling it to me again, even though I'm already sold on it. It is so, it makes such a difference. I mean, Park Farm, which is where, I don't know, I guess it makes up about half of the R.I.P. area, because it's not all Park Farm. There's other sections, but we were very close to Park Farm, which is the farmhouse where you have got a nice restaurant in there. You can get hot food and you sit down at a proper table indoors in a pub and eat it, and you've got like real. It's just basically nice. You're basically camping at a pub, and it makes such a difference.
Oh, it does. And the real ale and cider bar
was
as
lovely.
Well, which obviously ran out very quickly of stuff. But yeah, it's just having a decent pint at a festival for a decent price as well.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong.
It was really nice, actually, to see all the barrels of different kinds of ale that were not on the main pumps. It was. I had a few different concoctions, and I wish I could remember exactly what they were, but they were kind of fruity. Is all I can say. But they were very nice. They were very nice.
That's the main thing, isn't it? That's all that was nice.
Yeah, well, that's all you want. And it did have its own stage as well. So, you're paying for the nicer experience. You got your Park Farm house, pub, restaurant thing, but there's also extra stage with bands on, some of whom are playing on the main stretch. You've got, I can't remember what they're called. There's a band I'm thinking of.
As everything unfolds.
As everything unfolds.
They were fantastic.
Did you see them?
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
They were so good.
Yeah. I'm really impressed me. Absolutely incredible.
And they had a spot on, I don't know if they were on the Avalanche stage or the Dogtooth stage. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Avalanche.
They got a really good reaction, actually. And there was other bands on as well. They're the only ones I can remember, though. I think they were the only ones I actually saw. But there was a whole list of other bands who were just playing to the R.I.P. crowd. And it was nice and relaxed.
Yeah, it was very relaxed, and it was just like watching a kind of a local band in a pub beer garden. Even though some of these bands are kind of real up and coming artists in the industry, but it was just so chilled, and it was great just having a decent, proper pint, and watching some decent music. And it's a little benefit of R.I.P., isn't it? And it's something that you can kind of tick off to say, actually, do you know what? We could probably take 50 quid of the ticket price off for that, because we're watching a couple of bands there. They're probably worth a tenner each or whatever. So if you only watch like half of them or whatever, it's all good. And it's if you have to break it down like that, then that's the way to do it, I suppose. But it's just worth it. Just do it. Just.
It's extra days of music that you wouldn't get if you were in ordinary camping. I mean, you've got the Bordy Takeover, of course, in the village that happens, which is an extra day of music. But that's not, 2 minutes walk from your tent necessarily. So it is. I mean, it's hard to talk about R.I.P. without feeling quite smug and think, we've got. Look what we've got. But it is fantastic. I mean, there's more space as well than an ordinary campsite. I remember. I mean, it's been 2019 was the last time I was in regular camping, and I'd come from 2 years of doing R.I.P. to go back to regular camping because I was being harangued. Oh, you're always in R.I.P. Why are you always in R.I.P.? Why don't you come in normal camping with us in this shithole? And like an idiot, I said, oh, go on then, and slummed it. No, I have only got this opinion, this viewpoint, because I've been spoiled by R.I.P. I mean, if you've not done R.I.P. before, you probably think that ordinary camping is okay, and that's fair enough. But you know, to go to R.I.P. and then to go without all of those nice bits that I've mentioned, it wasn't nice. And like, you know, you can't go back once you've been in R.I.P. You can't go back to normal camping, I'm afraid.
I'll never go back. Never. It'd be a case of I don't go to the festival rather than go back.
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, once you know how nice it can be, and you end up back in normal camping, you think, why am I here? Why am I here? Yeah. I mean, you're allowed to take in glass bottles into R.I.P., which is a real novelty.
It is. It's great because it kind of really kind of improved my beer selection. It improved my spirits and liqueur selection, as you know.
Yes, I benefited from
And
that.
as soon as my tent was up, I had a lovely chilled bottle of Carver, which I cracked open and drank from the bottle because I'm a classy bird like that, you see.
I like that. That's, yeah.
And I don't care what anybody thinks. I enjoyed it.
The thing is, you can do that, though, in R.I.P., can't you? You actually, are you allowed to do that? You're allowed to take in your glass bottles and enjoy yourself however the fuck you want to enjoy yourself. And you did.
I did.
You get a goodie bag as well, which is different every year. This time around did you get, there was a sort of like it's like a backpack, but a posh one.
Yeah. I like the bag, to be fair. It's a decent enough bag. And I have used it as well since download.
Have you?
There's a lot of
actually.
There was a lot of mixed reviews about the goodie bag this year, I feel, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, the thing is, because it's so different to what we'd normally get. We'd normally get like a tote bag with lots of things in it, but actually those things that were in that tote bag you never end up using anyway. Like, I've still got a full download toilet roll that I've never used, and I'm never going to use it because it's a nice toilet roll. It's got download on it. You know, I'm never going to wipe that on my ass. It's a nice one. You put it on your shelf. You know, I have had nice things in the past. I've had flasks, like metal, nice flasks to drink alcohol out of. I think you'd probably more likely call it a water bottle, but I filled mine with Jack Daniels. You know, there's nice bits that they've had in the past. There's a little rubber duck for some reason. Never quite sure why we had this little rubber duck, but that was in there. You know that in the R.I.P. section there was like a little caravan where you got your R.I.P. goodies from. They also were selling R.I.P. goodies from years gone by, which I didn't realise until much too late, and all of the good stuff had gone. I wanted to pick up a 2013 T-shirt, which I missed out on the first time around. Yeah, they must have a warehouse full of unsold R.I.P. stuff. So if you miss out on anything that you like the look of, there's a chance that you'll actually be able to get some of it again in later years. Now, they do have... you don't just have to camp like in a tent at R.I.P. You can book a tour bus to sleep in. Did you see the tour bus?
I did see the tour bus, yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting, but to me, the tour bus looked like it had seen a few miles and carted a few bands around, and it was at the end of its life.
Yeah, I wouldn't have liked to put a black light over it, to be honest with you.
No, I agree with you there. I mean, I'm sure it was very nice, and I'm sure they hoovered, and I'm sure they cleaned it. But, you know, there was only one tour bus, and the prices on it were pretty high. So I hope that whoever booked that enjoyed it. But it's not something I think I would book. They also had a lot of sheds and not sheds, huts. wooden huts to sleep in. I'm not sure how I feel about that really either. Would you have slept in the little huts?
I considered it for next year actually, and then quickly decided against it.
Quite expensive though,
because it's essentially a shed, as you said.
Yeah,
and they are quite expensive for what they are. And there are other options in R.I.P. actually, which are more expensive but probably better value.
Oh, really? Like what?
I think which one was it? there was a luxury one, like a luxury cabin, which looked a bit better, which was en suite as well.
Ooh. Yes, they had. Yeah, there were different options this time around, weren't there? There were some extra ones that I don't think they would normally have, like like a sort of chalet that you'd get at the beach. It's sort of like an extra sort of like a nicer shed. So you could have one of them. They'd also got caravans as well that you can but we're talking so much money. You to start off with, for your R.I.P. ticket, you're talking about an extra at least £350 on top of your download ticket. So we're not talking cheap options. And so you've got your caravans, your tour bus, your sheds. There's also got bell tents, which look quite roomy, actually. I'm not sure how waterproof they are because they look canvas to me.
They are canvas, yeah. But you see, the thing is, I wouldn't go for a bell tent or something like that because I'm still camping in a bloody tent, and I could do that for a lot less. If I was gonna go for another accommodation option on site, it would either be a shed, a luxury shed, or they had those. They had the shipping container cabins, didn't they? Can't remember what they were called. They were kind of like a silvery white colour, and I think they were en suite as well. They had a little kind of veranda outside on the front, on the porch, and
yeah, there was so much that I probably have. It's in my mind somewhere, but it's buried beneath memory of alcohol. Yeah, but there's plenty to choose from. There's a lot actually that if you can have it's like choosing how you want to go on holiday. Do you want a villa? Do you want a little hotel room? Do you want to camp? There's so much that you can choose from, and they take the piss with the price. Well, let's be honest.
But do they? Because people pay it. Who are they taking the piss? Because there's demand for it. It sells out every year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. If people are willing to pay that kind of money, it's worth what people are willing to pay, isn't it? I suppose. You do also get the option of booking the use of the beauty hut. In fact, the beauty hut, I think, is something else. I think the beauty hut is it's a big shed with mirrors and a hairdryer, and lights, and possibly hair straighteners.
Oh yeah, definitely straighteners.
I didn't I didn't go in, so I didn't see exactly what that was. But I think you can book an actual person to do massages on you and do that sort of thing as well. I never did any of that because I'm not really bothered. But Lee looked into the massages and it was booked up.
Really?
So I think you've got to be quite quick, I think, because obviously they're not going to have a million massage therapists on hand just in case. So just in case one downloader wants a massage. So yeah, but even he didn't leave it late. I think he was like, as soon as he saw the sign, he rang the number. Oh, we're booked up.
Really?
So yeah, but it's if you're lucky enough to get a massage, then good for you. I turned up this year in a camper van. I did not have a camper van ticket. Just to make that absolutely clear, you can get a camper van ticket, but that puts you in a different place. You can have a camper van ticket that puts you behind the main arena. So when you're looking at the main arena, you see all those that field full of camper vans. That's ordinary camper vans. I think. I've never actually stayed in it, so I reckon that is the camper van section. There is a camper van plus bit, which this year was in the middle of the circuit, and they've got actual electric hookups. So if you've got a camper van or a motorhome, let's say you've got a few quid, and you want to hook it up to electricity, then that's where you would do that. But I managed without. I haven't got a leisure battery in my rental camper van, and it was fine. It's totally fine. I had a little awning with a little bedroom attached to it, which was quite nice. There was to be honest though, there was a camper van next to me, a nice one of those Volkswagen ones, and they had solar panels on the grass hooked up to something. So they obviously had a constant supply of electricity in the beautiful sunshine that we had. So if you've got a few quid, there's a number of ways that you can sort a nice stay out. If you want a really nice stay at Download, you absolutely can. And I would recommend doing R.I.P. I really would. I mean, like you say, you won't even look at standard camping again.
Never.
I don't blame you. So don't forget, you can ask us questions or give us your viewpoint by sending us a message on social media. Tell us your do's and don'ts. Tell us about something that we've missed, or just give us your opinion. Just search for Festpod on the socials. Next up, we're going to hear about what is coming out of your mouth on the social media. In this section, we're going to hear your answers to our question online when we asked you to name your 4 headliners for Download 2023. We have had a huge response to this. What with there being 4 days of music and we assume 4 headliners for next year, 2023. It's going to be a busy week, and we want to know who you fancy seeing as headliner. Some people don't like this line of discussion of headliners, and it doesn't matter about the headliners. Why are you always going on about the headliners? And you see that on comments all over the place. They sell tickets. That's what headliners are for. They sell tickets, and everyone's got an opinion on the headliners. I mean, just look at 2022, Biffy Clyro. There was never more opinions about any other headliner that I think I've ever seen.
Only main stage headliner I watched in 2022 was Biffy.
Really? Wow. And so you weren't interested in Kiss?
Nope.
You weren't interested in Iron Maiden? So, wow, okay. So it's to a lot of people, it's a big deal. And, I could have quite happily not watched any of the headliners, to be really honest. I saw a lot of bands that I just wanted to see who were lower down the list, and that's fine with me. But let's move on to you. Who did you want? Now, we've got some very interesting... We've had some very interesting replies. Who has stuck out for you, Rich?
Well, I think Peter Billy Bass Williams on Facebook, who's said Britney Spears, One Direction, Elton John, and AJ Tracey.
Have they got the right festival, do you think?
I mean, I'm sure that'd be a dream lineup for some people.
Yeah,
but
would it make you buy a ticket?
No. Sorry, it wouldn't.
One Direction has split up anyway. I've just seen the comment that's underneath.
Oh, wow. I wish I'd read that before.
Kieran Harvey has replied, "Behave, I can only masturbate once a day," which I just think is hilarious. We do have some funny people on our page. Now, there's a lot of people who are asking for the same acts. There's practically everybody is asking for practically everybody is asking for Metallica. So let's read this one out. This is Andrew Doig. Hope I'm saying that right, Andrew. He wants AC/DC, Metallica, Green Day, and Guns N' Roses. And then on the second stage, he's actually given us a second stage of headliners as well. Alice Cooper, Tenacious D, My Chemical Romance, and Evanescence. Do you know what? I would like to see Green Day. I haven't ever seen Green Day, and I would love to see them. Not massively bothered about a lot of the rest of it, to be honest.
You're not an AC/DC fan?
Well, it was part of my journey into metal. You know, I had my AC/DC phase, listened to all the albums. Great. What else is there? And I kind of moved on then and never went back. I'll happily, if it turns out to be AC/DC, I'll be amazed and I will watch them. But, you know, I'm not, it wouldn't be the one band that I have to see that weekend.
Yeah, I'd be the same as you. Don't worry, I'd be the same.
Yeah. Did you watch Guns N' Roses a few years ago?
Yes, I did.
And what did you reckon?
Do you know what? They were okay. Musically, they were okay. Mm-hmm. But and as much as I was happy to see as much as the original band as we'll ever get to see.
Yeah.
It was very much Slash solo for 20 minutes, followed by a bit of actual screaming for a couple of minutes, costume change, while Slash plays another solo. And it was just, it upset me a little bit because Guns N' Roses are one of the bands that kind of, as I was dragged up by my parents, was one of those bands that my dad listened to.
Yeah.
And I remember, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 being released. I remember him bringing it home when he came from work and how excited he was. And I've seen Slash countless times, but this was the first time I'd got to see Guns N' Roses, and I was bored.
It was a very long set, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're fine, but God Almighty, did they go on?
Yeah, I mean they did sell a lot of tickets because I don't think I've ever seen so many people at Download. It was so busy, and. You know, they do the business. They still sell tickets, whether you like the show or not. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's not just about the music, is it? It's about the dollar and selling them tickets and getting that place packed out, and that's what they want. And having people having a good time and stuff. And it's not for me. I'll be honest and say it's not for me really. But do you know what? I'd be more interested in seeing Alice Cooper, who I've never seen, and is part. It's I'd say it's heritage metal, isn't it? And it's a bit different.
Yeah.
It's a bit different.
Yeah. I'd watch Alice Cooper. I would.
Yeah. Who else is standing out on this huge long list of replies that we had?
There's quite a few people obviously talking about kind of Metallica and potential for 2 headline slots of Metallica, which I don't know, but it would put me off. It wouldn't stop me buying a ticket, but it would put me off having them headline twice. A lot of people mentioning kind of Motley Crue and Def Leppard as well, who are bringing that tour over to Europe next year. Now, I know a lot of my friendship group hate Def Leppard, but I'm a big Def Leppard fan. Again, it's
really wow.
Yeah,
I missed them.
I
didn't see them.
I love Def Leppard, and I actually really like Motley Crue as well.
I would watch them, but more out of curiosity than anything else, because I wouldn't say I was a fan or really into them or anything, but I've never seen them and would watch them.
And I suppose it depends what Vince Neil turns up, doesn't it? Whether they're good or bad. But yeah, no, I'd be okay with them, and I wouldn't want to see them split across 2 days though. I'd like to see them do their kind of the Def Leppard into Motley Crue.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 2 days, the same head. That's an odd idea. I don't think that's. I don't reckon. I can't see that myself. Now, Ian Hippie Baker has said he wants to see headlining Gojira, Deftones, Zeal and Ardor, and Lamb of God. Now, that's one of the more unusual replies that we got. Do you see those as headliners?
For next year, no.
Great bands.
They're good bands. I mean, Gojira have got to be pretty close to having that trigger pulled and kind of elevating them to headliner status soon. They've got to be, surely. I don't know whether they're going to play it a bit safer again next year with it being a big year.
Yeah. Now this is it, isn't it? Because it's got to be A-list sort of bands, hasn't it? It can't. I mean, you would expect them to go all out and book bands who. Do you know what? I was going to say bands that we haven't seen before, but that's probably not going to happen, is it? We're probably going to see bands that we've seen before, but big bands. And there's supposed to be this massive band that they booked, this huge booking, which could be anybody, really. But a lot of people think it's going to be Metallica. So, there's one here, Mackenzie Kell has said, bring me the Horizon, Slipknot or MCR, Metallica or Rammstein. I would like to see Rammstein again. And do you reckon they'll still be on tour by next year?
I think they've got to be close to a festival run. So festival maths says potentially Rammstein could be in with a shout.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, a lot of people talking about My Chemical Romance, and I could see it happening. I could see it happening, really? If the money's right, yeah. And they're not going to be cheap. That's the thing. And if you start thinking about kind of Metallica size headliners and then My Chem and then whoever else they go with, it's going to be costing a fortune. And although it's a big special year, it doesn't mean they're going to lose money on it. They've still got to make money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I think we're probably going to be looking at one massive headliner, potentially one new headliner,
and
then a couple of regulars.
Well, Jenny Beedman thinks it's going to be Rick Astley, Britney Spears, Taylor Swift, and Little Mix.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick Astley, he's a ledge, man. Come on.
He is a ledge, yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why not? Why not? Why not? I reckon they would sell tickets and you'd be right down the front. Why not?
I would. I'd be on the barrier. You wouldn't.
Oh, my God, yeah. Any others who are sticking out there for you?
I got a couple of people mentioning Parkway Drive. I think Parkway Drive have got they've got a great stage show, great stage presence. Probably about the right time for them to headline a Download Size festival as well. Saw them headline Bloodstock a couple of years ago, and that wasn't a very popular Bloodstock booking.
Really?
But they were absolutely bloody phenomenal, and everybody who watched them said the same as well. There was no kind of bitching about them like it would be if it was like Biffy at Download, for example. They put on a great show. It was a bit different for Bloodstock, but it worked, and I could see Parkway absolutely smashing out the Park headline and Download.
Yeah. What do you make of all the comments about Biffy Clyro for 2022? There was a lot of talk about them, and there's they have worked their way up. They have headlined before. They've been there for years, yet they were so unpopular with a lot of people. I mean, where do you stand? I know you watched them.
They're a hard-working, honest band who have earned their place at the top. And musically, the sound they make for a three-piece is incredible. I don't know if they have a couple of session musicians or whatever on big shows like Download, but even still, it was... People look at them because they release stuff into the chart and think they're too poppy, but some of the heaviest riffs I heard all weekend came from that Biffy stage on the Sunday of Download, honestly. And
right,
I'm a big fan of Biffy Clyro, and I have been for a number of years, and I'm so happy and pleased to see them do well and to get that kind of level. They know they might not be the most popular headliner, but they adjust their sets, and they just like Muse did. They adjust their set to cater to a slightly more rocky, heavier audience.
I would love to see Muse headline again. I didn't see them the first time round. Would love to see them.
Massive Muse fan, and yeah, I mean, I can't see it, but I'd be very pleased if they did. Again, another hard-working band that's worked their way up. It's got to be a time where your Metallicas, your AC/DCs, your Iron Maidens, your Judas Priests, your Kiss, all of these. They're not going to be around anymore. They're going to stop. I mean, Ozzy will never stop. He'll be playing for the next 100 years. But
I think you're right.
Sharon won't let him die, so he'll go on forever.
Yeah.
But this is when we need to get these. You start looking at these upper mid card bands, if you like, now that we've got, and look at who you think of these could headline, and you start to struggle. It's everybody plays stadiums these days. A ginger bloke with a guitar and a loop pedal plays stadiums, and if you like that sort of thing, fair play to you. It's not for me, but you look back a few years ago, you'd never see an artist, a pop artist like that fill a stadium, and it shows how the world's changing, and it's. Where'd you go? Where do the bookers go next? What's their next big thing?
Yeah, it's a tough job. I just had a weird thought. What about the Prodigy? Could they come back?
Would be interesting now.
I mean, they're still out there touring.
They are.
I think they're doing a little tour now, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It'd be weird.
Again, it's just still, what about, bands like Pendulum who have played before? And it's like, could they go really left field on this and do something weird and wonderful like that?
I'd quite like if they did.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
That's very diplomatic.
I wouldn't be opposed.
Yeah, I would be up for something a bit different because I don't tend to like the headliners, to be honest. I'm more interested in the newer bands. I spent most of my time this year in the Avalanche tent, watching bands there. I spent a bit of time in the Dogtooth tent. That's where I live, really. I like the newer stuff, and whilst I can get into some of the older stuff with the bigger bands, it's not generally where my attention is. But that tends to be who gets booked as headliners, isn't it? I mean, just look at Richard Flissick's comment Slipknot, Pearl Jam, Nine Inch Nails, and Metallica for the main stage he wants. And, you know, the comments generally are of that. That's the kind of band.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think it's too far to say that we're probably going to get this is probably what we're going to get, isn't it? Do you think?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. That's not a stretch at all. I mean, if Slipknot don't play, I will. I don't know what I'll do. I'll eat my hat, which I don't wear, but. You know, it's that kind of thing. I might not be the biggest Metallica fan, but I'm pretty much resigned to the fact they're going to be playing at least one night next year, I think. And
yeah,
but you know, I deal with it. It's
they're always divisive. Whoever the headliners are, some people love them, some people hate them. It is what it is.
I mean, you know, James Wilkinson has. Said Alter Bridge, Metallica, Disturbed, and Foo Fighters. Anyone but System of a Down.
Would love to see Foos.
I'd love to see Foos.
Yeah.
Never seen them, and I think they'd absolutely put on a belter of a show. And again, Alter Bridge, you know, they're big enough to headline, but they're not at the same time. It's weird. It's. I like.
There
Alter
has to
Bridge,
be a point at which they break through.
Yeah. And it's like, have they got a couple of years too many without breaking through to be a legitimate headline? I don't know. I love Alter Bridge live. I'm not a massive fan of them on record, but I would.
Right.
I love watching them at a live show.
Isn't that funny how some bands are great live, but not as great on recorded stuff? There's a few that I'm like that with, that I would only watch but wouldn't listen to, and I think it's a shame that the record doesn't sound the way they play. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I guess there's a lot of politics involved, and people in the studio, and people who are, you know, get involved in making records and making it. Because I'm a massive Royal Blood fan, and I love seeing them live. Some of my favourite tracks of theirs sound so much better live, and you just think, well, why wasn't it like that on the record? Because I could listen quite happily to that all day. Not that I don't like anything that's on the record, but you know, it could have just been so much better. It could have just been it does genuinely frustrate me, because it's the one band I've seen the most, and I just love them. I'm rambling now about Royal Blood, which I seem to do every episode. So if you've got any thoughts on what we've been talking about today, get in touch with us on social media. Look for us by typing in Festpod. We are now also on YouTube. Hello, if you're watching on YouTube, where you can watch us record the show, which is exciting and new and different. And you can, if you're normally a listener, which I assume most of you are, you'll be able to see what Rich looks like. Rich Holmes, our latest, our newest contributor. So have a look, get on YouTube and have a search up, put Festpod in, and give us a subscribe and a like. That's what they do, isn't it, on YouTube? And a comment. It's a different world, doing podcasts on YouTube. But we've got to get involved, haven't we? Because everybody else is doing it. But also, if you have noticed the cup that I've been drinking from, this is the Festpod mug, a bit of merch that we do on our Etsy store. If you'd like one, they're available there. Also, we have the Festpod patch, which is very nice. What I did realise the other day is that if you have a boring old cap, not this one because it's a nice one, paid 30 quid for this, at the download merch stall, which still blows my mind, I must have been drunk. But if you've got a boring old cap like this, you can get one of our nice patches and hot glue it to the front, and you've got a Festpod cap, which is nice. Equally, doable on a vest or anything like that. Don't hot glue it to your vest. No, I don't think that's the way to do it. Could you sew a Festpod patch onto a baseball cap? Maybe you could.
I reckon I could. I'm quite a skilled seamstress. Yeah.
Are you really? Would you have a go at that? Would you?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
It seems to be the right size, though, doesn't it? Yeah, so that's an option for you. But both of those, the patch and the mug, are available on the Etsy store. So if you go on Etsy, 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 which is just an online marketplace where people sell stuff, and search for Festpod, you'll be able to get the merch that we have on offer. There is stuff in the works, like T-shirts and stuff, but what with everything else that I've got to deal with, that's still to come. So be patient. Thanks very much to Rich for being with us today. Thanks for jumping in and helping us out today. And we will see you next episode if you're free. But if you like what you've heard today, please give us a review wherever you found us, and do look for us on the socials. We are always on there. Just look for Festpod. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. A Wilco Productions podcast.
I'm the man known as Sambuca Man.